Letting agents, property managers and independent inventory clerks are often spending hours and hours at the property conducting their property inspection reports. We understand that doing your inventory reports isn't the sexiest job to do, and it's probably the last thing on your mind, but it's an important thing to do. Inventory Hive has a host of features which I'm going to show you today, which will show you how to reduce your time at the property conducting those reports and make it a lot easier for yourself. When using the Inventory Hive app, it's totally up to you if you want to use your mobile device or a tablet. If you want to use your tablet, they're a little bit heavier, but the screen is a lot bigger to navigate through the app or when taking your photographs as well. The preference is totally up to you, a mobile or tablet. Personally, I like using a mobile device because it's just a little bit lighter and easier to navigate. Something to take into consideration as well is that when you're using the app on your mobile device, you have got a SIM card, so that means you've constantly got a signal if you ever need to use it. You need to consider that the device must not be more than 5 years old. If it's more than 5 years old, then the app might not be compatible with that relevant device, because we're constantly bringing out new features all the time, and obviously Apple and Android are constantly updating their software. To find the Inventory Hive app, just go to the App Store and search Inventory Hive. Once you search for it, you'll see it clearly pop up with the Inventory Hive branding, with the logo and the Inventory Hive name. The reason I say that is because Inventory Hive is obviously a common name and you might download other apps with a similar name. So make sure you specifically find Inventory Hive. Once you find it, just hit the download button and that will download onto your device. Before travelling to the property to conduct your inspection report, it's recommended to make sure your property is set up on the desktop site. The reason that is because the desktop site is usually a little bit easier to navigate when adding on properties or tenants on your account. If you do have a CRM integration with us, those properties and tenants should already be showing on your account. If not, we can help you set that up. Alternatively, we can mass import all of your properties on your account via CSV if needed. But if you need to travel to the property to add the property, then we can show you how to do that as well. At the top of your screen, it should say Add Property. You just hit that button and then you can just fill in the relevant fields. So I'm just going to type in example as the reference. What I'd recommend is to choose a property template from the drop down. So for the example here, I'm going to be choosing a furnished house, which is in generally a good condition. It will make more sense later on, but making sure you use a property template when adding on any property, pre-populate some common descriptions in the inspection report ready, rather than having all of those blank. The next thing you do is then populate the property address. You can search by postcode or manually add in the address using the relevant fields. You can also stand outside the property and capture an exterior photo as well using the app by clicking the Take Photo button or select from the library. Again, it's totally up to you. If you're adding this on via the desktop site, the interface on the app is exactly the same as desktop site, and you might already have those exterior photos already on your device already. Now your property and tenant has been set up on your account, the next thing is to add your report for that relevant tenant. Click on the relevant tenant's name and it should pop down and say Add Report. And then you've got an option of some report types to choose from. So your inventory, your check-in inventory, interim visit or checkout. Today, I was showing you a check-in inventory, so I'm going to select that one. Because it's my first inspection for this property, I'll be starting this report from scratch, but you do have the facility to copy the contents from previous reports. You'll then scroll down and then it will ask you if you want to commence this report in offline mode. At this moment, I'll tick no, but I'll show you how to set up your offline mode on the app in due course. Now the report is set up, you'll see it's in grey. The report is in a draft state on your app. And as mentioned, when I set the property up, I selected a property template. So that means a lot of the descriptions and items are already pre-populated in the report. You can preview that report in online mode, like I'm just showing you now. So when I preview the report, as you can see on the screen here, a lot of the descriptions and items have already been pre-populated in the report. If you selected a blank template, all of this would look completely blank and you've got to manually type in all of those descriptions as you go around the property. So my number one tip, when setting up your property is to make sure you select a property template. Otherwise, it can take you hours and hours to populate those descriptions in. Also, all the items that have been added in the report are relevant to that template you selected. I selected a furnished property, which is generally in a good condition. So as you can see in the kitchen here, it's populated general furniture items, fridge, washing machine, and then if I scroll to the right, they're all marked as generally in a good condition. So these pre-populated descriptions and condition cleanliness markings means that it will save you time when you're going around the property to conduct your report. Before travelling to the property, I strongly recommend putting the app in offline mode. Putting the app in offline mode cuts the signal from the app to the cloud-based servers, meaning the app's not relying on a network signal. Also meaning it's not using up any of your mobile data. So there's two things to consider before putting the app in offline mode. One is to make sure the sync settings on the app are accurate and up to date. To check your sync settings, you'll see the three lines in the top right-hand corner of the app, and then there's a button which says sync settings. My recommended sync settings are the last 7 days. So when you put the app in offline mode, it will transfer all of your reports, which are currently in a draft state, created in the last 7 days, into offline mode. So it's last 7 days, I click save and sync, and then there's a button at the top which says go offline. You tap that button and it will put the app in offline mode. Another thing is, before going in offline mode, make sure you've got a strong Wi-Fi signal or 4 or 5G signal. Now the app is in offline mode, you'll clearly see a red banner at the top. So that means your app is successfully in offline mode. To continue report, all you simply do is click the little cog against the relevant report and click continue. You'll see the relevant steps you need to complete before submitting your report off. So you've got rooms and spaces, utilities check, report notes, document serving, health and safety, fire alarm compliance, tenants details, signatures and approvals, and your check-in. I'd usually start with rooms and spaces, so I'll start with that, and now I'm going to conduct my report. When you get to the property, you might want to rearrange the order you want to inspect the property. My personal preference is to start on the ground floor, then go clockwise, and then do the same on the second floor and third floor and so on, depending on how big your property is. So for example, it might be the entrance and hallway first, then the dining room, and then the kitchen. So you can move those rooms about based on your personal preference. If you also get to the property, I'll need to delete out or add in rooms that you might have missed off from your template, then you can do that as well. To delete off rooms, you just hit the delete multiple button at the bottom and then select the rooms you don't want to include. So I'm going to select a conservatory, one of the en-suites, and maybe a front garden. You confirm the selection and those rooms will be deleted from your report. If you need to add in rooms, you can scroll to the top, click add room, and then select the rooms or search for the rooms you want to include in your report that you need to inspect. So it's as simple as that. What I'd recommend is get to the property, have a quick scour around the property and see what rooms you need to add in and delete out as well. Some Inventory Hive users can add 360-degree photos in their inspection reports. This is so you can capture the entire contents of the room in one photograph, rather than taking lots of standard photographs. In a 360 photo, you can capture all the lights working, the smoke alarms, the general context of the room, as well as any fixtures and fittings and furniture items if needed. You can purchase a 360 camera through the Inventory Hive website. I'm going to show you now how to add a 360 photo in your report. So you go into the relevant room, you go to the general overview. So in this case, I'm in the entrance and hallway. You tap there and you scroll down and it will say Connect 360 camera. I'm going to click there and then you tip Wi-Fi settings and that will take you to the Wi-Fi settings on your account. So then you'll see that the theatre camera, which I'll be using today, is popped up. I'll tap there and then it will connect my phone to the 360 camera. There's a tick there, so that shows I've been connected. Because I've already connected to the camera before, it remembers a password, but if you need to type in the password, you'll just find it at the bottom of the camera on the Ricoh devices. Now the camera is connected to my phone, it will say Browse 360 Camera. You just tap that button and it will bring up the camera roll on the Ricoh device. Before taking your 360 photo, what I strongly recommend is to make sure you're out of shot from the camera. So that might mean stepping outside the room or hiding around the corner. Something you need to take into consideration as well is to make sure you're not too far away from the camera. Otherwise that will disconnect your device from the camera itself. Press the Take 360 Photo button. You'll hear a little noise from the camera which lets you know that the photo has been captured. You'll then see the 360 image on the app. If you're happy with that photo, you just tap the tick button and that will get slotted in your inspection report. Another tip, that while the camera is connected to the app, is to go to all of the rooms in the property to take your 360 photo. The reason I say that is because if you disconnect the camera from the app, it will take you longer to connect it back up when you go into each room. So leave the camera on the tripod, go to each room while the camera is still connected to the app and take your 360 photos in all of your rooms. Once that's done, you can pack your 360 camera away and then carry on with the rest of your report. Before conducting an inspection of a specific room, what I'd recommend is to have a look around the room to see what items you need to add in or even remove from your report. So in this case, I'll be in the kitchen and then I'm having a quick look round and I need to delete out some items. So for example here, you can scroll to the bottom, hit the delete multiple and remove the items you don't need. For example, the washing machine and the dishwasher. So I'll confirm those selections and those items get removed. But if I want to add in items such as a kettle or even a toaster, you can do that as well. So I'll hit the little cog at the top right hand corner, click add multiple and type in those items. So I'm just going to type in toaster, add another item and then kettle. Those items will get added in your report so you know to inspect those when you go through your report. Now your items have been added in your specific room, you start with the general overview. So just tap into general overview. You'll see from the template I selected, it's already pre-populated in a description. So in this case, it's clean and tidy, neutral smell, no smoking or pet odors. You can free type in the box if you want to add anything in. You can hit the clear description button, which will clear the entire description from that box. You can choose from the current description drop down, such as clean and tidy, freshly refurbished, woodwork freshly painted. So there's lots of descriptions you can choose from, and there's over 32,000 descriptions from the drop down menu you can choose from if you're looking for a bit of inspiration. Alternatively, you can use our voice dictation. So you hit the microphone button in the bottom right hand corner, you speak into the app, and as long as you're not very drunk and had 10 pints, it will recognise what you're saying. So speak into the app with the voice dictation and it will carry on what you're typing. When you've described your items in the general overview, it's also recommended to take some photos as well. If you haven't used a 360 camera, just take some standard photographs through the Inventory Hive app. All you simply do is click the Take Photo button, it will bring up the camera on your device and you just take some general overview snaps. My general tip is to get one of the general overview of the room, one from each corner, one of the door, one of the floor, and those photos will go in the general overview. The reason I say to take lots of general overview photos, because it means you can take less standard photographs of other items when you're inspecting other items in your report. If you're capturing as much as possible in the general overview, it's in a good clean condition, then that will pass going forwards. Then going forwards, you only need to take photographs of common dispute items, damages and defects, or any maintenance issues. When running through your items in a specific room, you can also go into more detail and also record maintenance issues as well. So for example, I'm on the extractor cooker hood, and then it's noted here that the fan switches are responsive. But I've just tried it out here and they are not responsive at all. And I want to note that down. So I just delete off the relevant section on the template because it's pre-populated in. And then I can type in the extractor cooker hood. Light does not work. So I've added that in the report. And then you can take your photograph of that. in it goes. And because I'm in offline mode on the app as well, those photos go in fairly quickly. You can also edit the photos as well by clicking on the little cog against the photo, click photo editor, and then you can rotate those photos if you want to, because sometimes the photos might go upside down. Adjust the brightness and contrast if applicable. You click save, that photo gets updated. You can then adjust the condition cleanliness, so if it's fair condition or good condition or poor, totally up to you, whatever you think. And then you can flag maintenance issues as well. So you can flag this item for maintenance because the light doesn't work. So this item needs repairing. You can flag the responsibility, whether it's a tenant, landlord, insurer, or not applicable. Explain the reasons. So I'm going to say the light doesn't work. And if you have an integration with FixFlow as well, you can send that directly to your FixFlow account at a click of a button. Once you've done that, you click Save and Next and move on to the next item. When doing the inspections at a property, you might want to clone the entire contents of one room into another. So you can see from the example on my screen here, I'm in the toilet and I've inspected all of the items in that specific room. So you'll see from the ceiling, I've noted that it's ceiling painted 0 to 1 month ago, free of marks, mold and cobwebs, and no leak stains present. And that might be the case for the other toilet in the property. You can then click on the toilet, on the cog, and it will say clone room. You tap that button and you can give it a name. So you might say toilet number 2 in the property. You click done and that will get added into your inspection report at the bottom. You can view that and I'll just show you, if I click on the ceiling again, those descriptions have been copied over based on the condition of that original room. When doing the inspection, it's strongly recommended to record the smoke alarms in your report as well. So I'm in the entrance hallway of the property, I'll click into smoke alarm and it's already pre-populated a description. So it's ceiling mounting alarm, test function working, note to tenant, please test periodically. I've already tested that, it all works fine, and then you can take a photograph of that. I'll just take photo, bring up the camera and take a photograph of that smoke alarm. If you want to get a close-up image of that smoke alarm, you can select photo from library, click take photo, and then you can use the zoom on the camera and zoom in a lot closer to capture that smoke alarm. So that will then go in your report as well. Something else you can do is then enable the compliance flag as well. So mark the date the smoke alarm was tested and an expiry date as well. When you populate an expiry date, you'll get an email reminder notifying you when that smoke alarm is due to expire so you can renew that on your property. Once you've inspected all of the rooms, you'll notice all of the rooms have gone green on your report. You just hit the done button and then you move on to the utilities check. When conducting your checking inventory report, it's important to capture the utility meter readings at the property so you can monitor the usage throughout the tenancy. To update the meter readings, all you simply do is click Utilities Check and it will bring up the relevant meter that you've set up at the property when you're adding the property on your account. So in this case, there's a gas meter at the property and I need to update the readings. So I'll just click Update Readings. And whether you're using the Inventory Hive app, you can take a photograph through the Inventory Hive app of that meter reading and that photo will upload in. If you're using the app in online mode, what the software can also do is scan those meter readings and use image recognition features to capture the numbers on their own, rather than manually typing them in. I'm just going to show you how that works from the desktop site. So all you simply do is select photo from library, or if you're using the Inventory Hive app, just click the take photo button, take a photograph of that meter, and that will go in. You can then scan the photo for the readings and you can select the numbers. So in this case, it's 26401. Those readings have gone in there, but you're more than welcome to free type and manually type in those as well. You populate the reading date, type in any notes if applicable, and click done. If you don't want to do any meter readings, you just simply hit the not applicable button at the top and those readings won't go in the report. If you're happy with the readings, you just click done and you're ready to move on to the next utility or onto the next stage of your report. When conducting your check-in report, you do also have the facility to attach any pre-arrival documents that you want to serve to your tenant before they move in. It's probably easier serving this from the desktop site rather than using the Inventory Hive app. The reason I say that is because it's unlikely you're going to have those documents saved locally on your device, and you're more likely to have them on your computer, whether that's in the office or at home. If you do want to serve some pre-arrival documents, all you simply do is hit the yes button to whether you would like to send electronic copies of any pre-arrival documents to your tenant before the tenancy start date. If you pop that as yes, the how to rent guide will already be attached for you. We automatically attach that based on the latest guidance provided from the government website, so you don't need to do anything on that. Then you can delete out the ones you don't want to attach. So in this case, I'm not going to attach the Legionella risk assessment, the deposit protection, and an EPC. So I'll delete those out. But if you do want to attach a gas safety certificate, you just click on gas safety, upload the document, and find that relevant document from your files. So I'll just find the gas safety cert for that property and upload that document in. The same can also be done for any other documents. So in this case, the electronic safety certificate. So I'll click on there, upload the relevant document, and find that document and upload that in. You can also attach any other custom documents you want to. Say, for example, if I click on Add Custom Document, and if I want to attach a fire evacuation plan, you're more than welcome to do that. So you give it a custom name, so in this case, the fire evacuation plan. And once you click on there, you can upload that relevant document. So you can give that a custom name if you want to. So basically, you can attach any pre-arrival documents you wish to serve to your tenant alongside your check-in report. Now your utilities check has done, the next step is to do the report notes. This is where you can populate the landlord's name or the letting agent or property manager's name and number if applicable. If you want to do that, you just hit the yes button, populate the name, so I'll just put Joe Bloggs in here, then a contact number. You can also add in some front cover notes as well that you want to appear on the front cover of the report if you really want to. If you don't want to do that, you just leave it blank, you hit done, and then you just move on to the next step. The next step is to then record any health and safety alarm compliance questions and fire door compliance if applicable. So if you just click into health and safety alarm compliance, it will bring up a list of questions. The questions that we bring up are relevant to where that property is in the country, whether it's England, Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland. So then you just go through and answer the relevant questions. If you want some more context on the questions you're answering, you just hit the tooltips button. So if you just hit the tooltip or question mark against the relevant question, it will bring up some more context about the question you're answering. If you don't want to include that question in your report, you just hit the not applicable button and that won't be included. You can then take some photos if you want to, and they will get added in your report. Once that's done, you hit the done button and move on to fire door compliance. Again, this is only relevant to specific properties and whether that's part of your legislation. If you want to answer those questions, you hit the yes button, those questions pop down, and you just work your way through the questions and answer yes or no to those questions. Now that bit's been done, the next step is to then look at your tenant's details and then your signatures and approvals. But my personal preference is to do the check-in step because you're still at the property completing these important questions. So you just click on check-in, it will ask, are the keys photographed and tested? You tick yes, and then you can take a photograph of some keys. The same with the appliance manuals as well. And then you scroll down and then you've got some optional questions about fitness for human habitation. If you don't want to answer those questions, you just hit no. But if you do, you hit the yes button and those questions pop down. So you can just work your way through, answer those fitness for habitation questions while you're at the property. The answer will go green if it's a positive answer and go red if it's a negative answer. So you just work your way through, Click on the tooltips if applicable if you want to learn more about that question, and they will get slotted in your report. You can also add in some additional photographs as well by hitting the Take Photo button. Once that's done, hit the Done button and that section will go green. The next step is to then check the tenant's details to make sure the correct tenant's details have been populated on your report. So you just click Tenants Details, check the tenancy reference if you want to populate that in, the tenancy to start date, whether the management category, and then you click Save and Next. You can then check their name and their email address. The email address is important because if you're planning to send this report via email to them through the paperless process for them to feedback on, you need to make sure the email address is populated in correctly so they get the report. You click Save and that will get tipped off on your report. You're nearly done. You now need to do the signatures and approval step and sign off your report. So you click on Signatures and Approvals and it will ask you a few questions before you can submit your report. So it will say, was the tenant present during the inspection? 99.9% of the time, the tenant wouldn't be present because I've not moved into the property yet when you're doing your check-in report. So you mark that as no. Do you require a tenant signature for the report? Yes, you do. It's quite important to get a tenant signature so they can sign off the contents of the report and agree to what you've populated in your report. So I'll leave that as yes. If the tenant is present now, do you require their signature to confirm receipt of this report? Usually, if question one is marked as no, you can mark that one as no as well because they're not present with you. And then finally, it will say, do you want to send an electronic copy to the tenant for the paperless approval using Inventory Sign? And that is recommended. So that is marked as yes. So what that will do is, when the report has been submitted, the tenant will get an email of their report where they're able to provide further evidence and feedback on their check-in report when they move into the property. They're not criticising the report, they're actually adding more evidence and photos in the report in case you've missed something off. Designed to reduce disputes, so when the checkout report is done, they can't dispute anything like that when they have the opportunity to feed that at check-in. You can then populate the inspection start time, the finish time, the inspector name, so you just type in your name in there, the inspection date, and then sign it off. Once you've clicked done, you're ready to go back online and submit your report to the tenant. Before you can submit your report, what you need to do is sync your work that you've done in offline mode back up online, so you're able to submit it off to your tenant. To do that, you must make sure you've got a strong Wi-Fi signal or 4 or 5G signal. So that might mean traveling back to the office or back home where you've got that. Once you've got there, it will say working offline, sync required, tap here. You tap that button, click begin sync, and it will transfer all of the photos that you've taken in offline mode, all of the descriptions back up online, and they'll be saved on the cloud. So you'll be able to access that from the desktop site and preview and submit that off to your tenant. Now you're back in online mode, you should preview your report before you submit it off. This is where you can see if you've made any mistakes or added in any incorrect photos. So you just hit the preview report button, click preview, and then you can see a preview of your report. So you just have a look through, have a look at the compliance questions you've answered, have a look at the any 360 photos and any descriptions you've populated in your report. If you have realised you've made a mistake, you just go back, hit back again, then go to the room and space you want to edit. So if I've made a mistake in the dining room, click in dining room, find the relevant item, and then make any tweaks or any edits. And that will update your report live. Once you've then previewed your report, you're then able to submit your report. So you just go back to the relevant section, find your report, and then at the bottom, it will say submit report. Hit the submit button, and then your tenant will get an email of their report where they're able to provide feedback on your check-in report. The paperless process has now kicked in, and you can manage the rest from your desktop site. When the report has been completed, you'll notice the report goes green on your account. So in this case, the tenant has provided some feedback and you've agreed to their comments, and that's all audit trailed in the report. If you wish to share that report via PDF or via link, you can do that in a number of ways. So you can click on the cog, click download report. You can download a PDF copy as a recommended version, or you can customize it and show additional full page photos of the photos you've taken in the report. You can also remove the tenant's details as well, and any personal details in case you need to share that with an external party. If you wish to share that report via a link, you just click on the cog, click share report, and then you can generate a link which you can then share via WhatsApp or over email. You can also email the report directly to whoever you want as well. By clicking the cog, click email report and typing in their name and email address and clicking send. And it's as easy as that. We understand it's a lot to take in, especially when creating your first check-in report. We understand it's very daunting, and we're here to help you and hold your hand along the way. So if you have any further questions, get in touch via email, which is support@propertyreporting.co.uk. Alternatively, you can head to our support page on the Inventory Hive website, where there's over 400 articles which can tailor to the question that you need answering. So get in touch. We're always here to help you guys, and any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.